How would you describe our relationship?
I feel like there was a large part of my early life where I feel like you were kind of like my lawyer, and I was kind of like that nightmare client that's getting into trouble. So I would say at that point, that was kind of our relationship. I felt like you looked out for me a lot during sixth form as well. You were dancing, you were doing your thing.
Yeah.
So when I came to the school, thanks to you and Ruben, because I'm not gonna say it the real way. Yeah. I had a little bit of what you could call clout going in. You know what I'm saying? But you were like my lawyer. You were kind of like my manager a little bit. And then as we got older, you went off to uni. My life started, teenage years, later teenage years, early 20s, etc. And then, I would still say, I think our relationship just is solid. To be honest,
we break the fourth wall. One question I took out is our biggest argument. I don't think we've ever had an argument.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah. So I feel like it was everything. How you described our relationship was exactly what it was. Like I saw you as a younger brother.
Yeah.
There was somewhat like motherly feelings I had towards you. Like I saw your potential.
You could be.
People tell us don't look at people's potential. Look at their potential. Let me tell you, because I saw who you could be. So like seeing who you are now is like amazing.
Oh, stop it.
But I always it was frustrating because I knew where you were coming from when you'd get into arguments with Ruben and do the wrong thing. I knew where your heart was and I knew why you were doing the wrong thing. But it's hard to fight for someone doing the wrong thing even though you know they're right.
Exactly. That's why I said I was a nightmare guy.
That's the perfect way. I'm rooting for you. But now I would say it's flipped. Not even to be fair, you'd never come to me for advice anyway. But now that is our relationship. I'm almost your client. Your therapist client.
Exactly.
So I was your lawyer, you're my therapist.
I'm saying full circle. What is your favorite memory of us?
The first time we ever had a long conversation. I think my thoughts were, wow, I can talk to this guy for time. Also, wow, I have a lot to say. I was opening up my thoughts. So I feel like there's obviously we've had many a good time. I think a lot of fun memories are tied to me, you and Ruben together. So it's like when we watched the other guys. That is, I always say to people, that's in my top favorite films. Because I feel like that defined our sense of humor together. Me and Ruben, just stupid fun. It was I looked at you guys, I was like, because that's when Nodrin had left to uni. I actually spoke about this in the last video. And I remember thinking, I could actually have some fun with these guys.
Okay, we were a little crazy. Stealing money for you, fights, whatever. But you know what? It's funny you bring up the other guys because I feel like a lot of my really good memories to Simmons in general, but definitely you, are attached to film. So I remember the first time we watched Law Abiding Citizen.
That's my f***ing film, my God!
Those moments, experiencing, it was the first time as well watching a film that had subversion in terms of the characters, and I miss that, the way you and Nadreem would break down the film before we watch it. It's so funny because I do all this stuff now and I don't even realize it. But definitely as well, not to steal your answer, but I think it was, I remember we were in my room and you were talking about an experience you had on the train when you had what you maybe at the time described like a panic attack. And I remember discussing it and whatnot, and that stuck with me, probably because it marked a huge change in our relationship, in our dynamic. You know what I mean? I was, like you said, I became the therapist. So So man, those are some of my favorite times, man. For sure.
What is something you think people may not know about me?
You have this insane level of belief in where you're almost able to placebo yourself. I envy it a lot. I really do.
Oh, really?
Because I'm such a thinker and I'm such a realist. I don't know how to dream to a level where it actually affects change in my life. So I have to do everything step by step, very regimented, as realistically as possible. But you can just say, I'm going to do this, and somehow it happens. Like, sometimes I hear you saying stuff, sometimes I'm like, this time, man, that thing, it's crazy. But hence why most people won't know that there is a sensitive side to you. There is a part of you that does want belonging and does want connection with other people. Some people might see this and assume, oh, but of course she's that way because of your smile and your dancing and stuff. But the people that know you will know how strong and almost independent you are. And I think some people don't really understand how soft you are. Maybe the people that know you really well.
No, it's funny you say that, because I think people looking on the outside, like you say on Smiley App, they'll be like, yeah, she's a sensitive soft. But people then that get to know me will think she's fun. Because even, I hate to keep referring back to the video I did with Nodrin, and we spoke about like our worst fight or whatever, and she was like, oh, it's nice to know it affected you like that. Like she didn't know. She was like, you're people that get to know me don't know, like you say. So
maybe I should even say, one thing people don't know is you're very harsh.
That's enough.
You're very, very strict. And for the people watching, like most of the videos you see, the discipline and the work ethic that goes into it only comes from someone that does not let themselves off of any little thing. I've recorded with her a few times. Sometimes I hate it because I'm like, it's good enough. You can post edit or whatever, but you're like, no, it has to be right there and then. And I'm not even going to say that comes from recording. I feel like you've maybe always had that on yourself, and then that's what lends to your level of direction, recording and stuff, and perfectionism. But yeah, you don't let yourself off the hook much. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have, sometimes it can be painful. You're too harsh on yourself almost, in a way of like, no, I said I'm going to do it, so I have to do it, which is so beneficial. And that's why you are where you are ultimately. So I wouldn't say change it. Sometimes listen to a nigga. But then I say this, and then that thing that I'm like, it's about to fall apart, you make work. You know what I'm saying? So I can't, it's very hard to criticize belief, especially belief that actually works. But yeah, that's what I would say. That it depends on who's asking, but either you're harsh or you're very sensitive.
It's so funny you say that, because I feel like I've got two for you as well.
Yeah.
I would say for you, it depends. I don't know what you're like with your friends, to be fair. But I feel like there's split two sides to you. So it depends who I'm talking to. Some people know both sides.
Yeah.
So one thing people may not know about you is you are the most unserious, stupid person. Like, because some people that know they'll see you as serious and wise and smart and all those things. But they don't know that sometimes when you say stuff, we're like, okay, whatever. Because you're used to just, when you see you just trying to, like, we could say, oh, I was reading this book the other day, 7 Laws of Attraction or whatever it's called. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, I wrote that. And we're like, okay. And you start off and you start off so convincing.
Right, yeah.
And then you leave us with something. You're very fun, you're very playful. So I think there's some people that may not know that side to you.
Yeah.
Like, for example, growing up, our cousins, they only saw your like serious auntie side.
I agree.
And they were like, wow, really, that could be funny. Like, you're probably one of the funniest people in the family.
Yeah.
And people may not know that. But then on the flip side, some people that see your funny side may not know how wise you are. Like, I'd say you're probably one of the smartest in the family. There's a reason.
What's up, man? I just displayed the opposite.
There's a reason I come to you for advice. And even like, I guess someone just looking at a random and they'll see you're the youngest in the family. They probably wouldn't know that you are you're the one I'm going to go to. So I'm very judgmental. There's some people I don't really want to hear what you've got to say about my life, because you can't tell.
That means nothing. When was I really there for you as a sister or brother?
I don't know if I've ever spoken about it on my channel, but figuring out where I stood with religion, just being like a listening ear in that. Because I was like, for me, I believe in God, as you know, like I'm not religious. I just believe in God, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to get to that stage, coming from when you've been a Christian,
Yeah.
you're gonna go the complete extreme and
Mm-hmm.
find your space. You might end up saying, I don't believe in God, and then you do and you were there with me on that path because you're someone who understands what that is, what that feels like.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad none of this stuff went wrong. Because especially at that time, I could have very easily just said, "Fuck it, all that to the ground." You know what I'm saying? But in terms of where you've been there for me, most definitely again through my younger years. But as I've gotten older, I've really realized the impact of having someone there that understood me, sort of thing. Because especially where we were growing up, my anger would have been hijacked by any person for a variety of different means, sort of thing. And like, it was nice to feel like, okay, this anger isn't just coming from nowhere. Like it's, or at least there's someone out there that understands it.
Just trying to hold it together.
So, like, honestly speaking, it was nice to have like an advocate in my corner, especially where there were other people that were advocating for me as well. But like, really and truly, like, and you might not know this, but my biggest fear when I was that age was that first, I wasn't going to be able to make it out of year 2. Yeah, because I didn't feel capable. I didn't really feel capable. I think the most emblematic thing of where you've been there for me is, I don't know, you know, what happened to my knee. But I was having like, I was in hospital. How long was I in hospital for?
You were there for some time. I want to say a week at least.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Sometimes it felt like 3 days, but mommy says it was like 3 weeks.
Swear.
Yeah, but for those that don't know, I had an issue with my joints, and just my own body weight standing still was enough for me to like be wincing in pain, and I couldn't sit straight. And it first started happening in school while I was sat on the bench at play club. And we're able to walk past, and you could see that something wasn't right. And I don't even remember saying anything to you or anything, but you just kind of knew to get me home. And that maybe, who knows what would have happened to my knee had you not done that. So you've always had like I feel like you've always had an intuition as to when I'm not feeling right. But just having that intuitive understanding of who I am at my worst, whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, that's a God, really. Has probably saved my life in not too many words, but in the right words. Like, had I gone through just continuing to be misunderstood, I would have been way more bitter, and the room for humanity in me would be very, very, very small. So thank you a lot, because I'm genuinely like happy with who it is that I've become. So yeah.
Thank you. Off the back of that. And I know I shouldn't jump ahead, but I remember one of the questions. And but who you've become, like, I think one of which is something I don't tell you often. I feel like I allude to it. You're genuinely one of the most amazing men I know. And to know that even if I've played like the smallest part in making that happen, makes me so happy. Down to if some of my male friends are going through something, you're someone I trust to turn to, because I judge your character not just as who you are, but who you are as a man. Like 10 out of 10. So I think that's what makes me a bit emotional to you say. Like, and I feel like I don't think I've ever said that to you. Like, you are an amazing man. So that's why it's like, I can cut stuff, you don't want me to say it. But what meeting your partner, like meeting your girlfriend, and seeing how much of an amazing woman she is, I'm like, on the outside, you'd be like, wow, how lucky is my brother to have this woman? She's so great. But then I'm like, he's an amazing man. It makes sense that he's with this great woman. Like, you guys together are insane. It's like the Avengers coming together. Two of the greatest people. Like, like who you are at like 10 out of 10, honestly. Like, and to go back to the intuition thing, this has stuck with me. I think it was at Christmas
and I don't even know how you pick up on these things, but I started working where I work now, and you were just like to me, you're like, having this job, do you feel a bit more grown up? And I was like, yes, that's literally what I mean. Like, because I've had jobs from when I was in secondary school, and I was working at a gym, and then I worked in Sainsbury's. At one point I was doing Amazon deliveries, I've DJ'd, I've done loads of different jobs, but that was like the first one that matured me. But everyone else would have just thought, another job, do you know what I mean? But you kind of saw that there was a real change, because I felt more settled, I felt more in and of myself. But maybe that's what you've always seen as well. I don't know. Who knows what you saw when I was younger, mate? I don't know what you were seeing, mate. I would have told you done that, Clive. Don't know where.
When were you worried about me most? Have you ever been worried about me?
Yeah.
Really?
The roles really have reversed with me. But a lot. I'm always really worried about strong people, because I know it can be hell when you're capable in your head sometimes. The first time was maybe when you and Nadreen used to live together. Yeah. But then work starting to like fall apart. And I think, did you come back for a bit?
Yeah, I moved home.
Yeah.
I was home for a year and a half, man.
Felt like it was nothing, to be honest. You know, man. Same drinks in the back. I don't want anything. But like, that point in time, I was like, you know what, this is... And I could tell that for you felt like this was make or break, you know what I'm saying? Because you move out, you get that sense of freedom, and things were happening as well, hence why you were able to move out. But like, the crash of that must have been tough. And I'm usually worried about your lifestyle and your health, because at that time you were staying up late. I don't know if you were doing energy drinks at that time.
So I would.
Yeah.
I don't know if you took this in, this might worry you more. I would drink coffee. Yeah. To keep myself up. Many a coffee. Yeah. And it until like 4 a.m. Yeah. And now I'm wired. Yeah. So I have to drink wine. Do you know what I mean? To fall asleep. Yeah. Someone said that's like lean.
Yeah. It's just lack of sleep, caffeine intake, and then recording, which in and of itself is mentally taxing. Like, I've never done it to your level, ever, anywhere near. But like, I can just see like dragging down like everything or whatever, setting it up. And in my head, in my heart of hearts, I was like, I remember I used to say to you sometimes or whatever, because I'd watch a podcast about sleep and the benefits of sleep. I was like, careful, you might die, yo. You know what I'm saying? God
you
forbid.
and Lisa was like, you were both on me like, sleep,
please. And if you're not sleeping now,
no, I'm sleeping now.
Okay, yeah,
I sleep.
But I think I just worry that sometimes your drive, your want towards success is the highest drive in you, and it can sometimes come at the cost of everything else. And then just anytime you told me like things ain't really moving the way I want it to, I'm like, no, you know what I'm saying? And I tried to like offer small advice, but I still feel like your little brother as well, so I don't want to overstep the line. Look at this little nigga. Still lives with it. You know what I'm saying? Can you tell me? But that, and then in more smaller moments, I worry about you when you say something from a place of your confidence or your ego, if you want to use a less lovely term. But when you're like, I'll never do that, or that'll never happen to me, or when you speak in absolutes, that's when I get worried, because the crushiness of that is similar to what you probably felt with religion, where something that at a point in your time was absolute, like religion is real, there can be nothing false about it, nothing corruptible. But when you discover that that's not the case, you're like, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I actually do? And our beliefs and the things that we want to do in our life and the goals we set for ourselves can become our own religion, in the sense that we worship and we make sacrifices for, and this, that, and the other. And definitely projecting, because I'm afraid of making big promises to myself, like, you know what, next year we're gonna do this. Yeah. Next year we're gonna do that. Ironically, every time I've done it, it happens. But I fear the pain of like unfulfilled expectations, and you expect so much out of life, and you've gotten a lot out of it. But that's when I worry about you the most, when you're at your most optimistic sort of thing, because I fear the drop. And I don't know if I've ever seen you, maybe, but I don't know if I've ever seen you, every time I've seen you drop, funny enough, I've never been worried.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can tell what's actually going to happen is you're just going to believe harder now. Like, you're coming back with vengeance. I'm like, all right, cool.
When I was worried about you,
yeah,
I would say there's
many a time.
I would say there's been a few iterations, obviously, when you were younger.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course, I was always fighting for you, always in your corner. But I was just like, damn, is anyone ever going to get him? Like, even just us going round to cousin's house and you're like just in your own corner and everyone's like, yeah, Rita's just quiet, he doesn't want to. And I'm just like, I just don't know. Like, but I'm just like, is anybody going to know? Like, I was worried.
Yeah.
And even just like, when you were young in primary school and seeing you just like, the one time I was off home from school sick, and our old house used to overlook our primary school, and I'd see you in the playground by yourself. Yeah. And again, that's, I don't know if you'd call it projecting, but as much as I saw who you were and I advocated for you, we're so different. So it was so like alien to me, someone to just not, because I'm a people person, like I would make friends and whatever. So to see you by yourself, part of you was probably happy. And fine.
It was cloud.
I'm so worried now. I was like, oh my God. And then fast forward to you starting secondary school. Oh my God, one of the most anxious ridden days of my life.
Thomas Tallis.
Thomas Tallis, because I was in the sixth form when I was watching you come, and like I had to just let you go. I guess as parents, not that I'm your parent, but I can imagine they have a moment where they have to let their child go. I don't know if I could ever do something like that. But I had to just stand and watch you become your own, like, you can do this. And I was so nervous. People were probably talking to me, I'm like,
get away from
me. And then obviously you made friends. And then of course, when you fell ill, like, I think that's like the peak of my worry for you. And there's you can be worried, but hold it together, and that's what I tend to do. But when everybody else around was back, like we saw Daddy cry for the first time when he saw you. He saw you and he broke that. Like, you were bad. You were quite literally down bad. Like, you were even you trying to walk to go and show Ruben the playroom in the hospital, and you came back crying because you couldn't even make it all the way there. Like, I think that was the most I was worried about. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what has happened to Rita now. So I don't even know how Mummy was able to do that. She is a true soldier. To be there, like, parents with their kids. What you have to be strong for someone when that's probably the most worried she's ever been. And she's got to put that aside. And just seeing you go through that in hospital, that was definitely a time I was very worried about you too. I'd say those are the key moments.